Hello everyone. In this video I am going to tell Bhagavad Gita shlokas 13 and 14. In the previous shlokas, the Lord told that if one wants to practice yoga, he should go to a secluded place and lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. He also told that the seat should be neither too high nor too low, and it should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Let us begin with these shlokas. समं काय शिरोग्रीवं धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चाडवलोकयन् प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. The meaning: Samam, straight; Kaya, body; Shiraha, head; Grivam, and neck; Dharayan, holding; Achalam, unmoving; Stiraha, still; Samprekshya, looking; Nasika, of the nose; Agram, at the tip; Swam, own; Dishaha, on all sides; Cha, also; Anavalokayan, not looking; Prashanta, unagitated; Atma, mind; Vigata, bhi, devoid of fear; Brahmachari vrate, in the vow of celibacy; Sthitaha, situated; Manah, mind; Samyamya, completely subduing; Mat, upon me, Krishna; Chittaha, concentrating the mind; Yuktaha, the actual yogi; Asita, should sit; Mat, me; Paraha, the ultimate goal. The entire meaning is: one should hold one's body, neck and head in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is to know Lord Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. The form of Vishnu Murti is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling in one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete stopping from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned in the previous sloka. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy written by the great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarva vastasu sarvada sarvatra maitu natyago brahmacharyam prachakshyate, which means the vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words and mind at all times, under all circumstances and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sense gratification. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood, when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to the Gurukula, or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make any advancement in any yoga, be it dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools don't even accept householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of bhakti yoga is so very powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction, being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is said, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate, which means, though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. In these shlokas, Vigata Bhi is used. Vigata Bhi means to be fearless. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully Krishna conscious. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, which means his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37, it is said, Bayam Vitiya Binivestah Syadishad Apetasya Viparyayo Smritihi. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so-called yoga societies. Thank you for watching, and I will tell the next shloka in the next video.